ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
President-elect Joe Biden unveiled his nearly $2 trillion COVID relief plan tonight. The American Rescue Plan focuses on more stimulus payments, reopening schools, and revamping vaccines. Good evening. I'm Kimberly Hunt.
And I'm Steve Atkinson. In the meantime, the COVID-related deaths reported this week, they exceeded the CDC's estimate of 22,000 flu-related deaths during the entire 2019-20 season. As ABC's Romina Puga reports, this all comes during the effort to ramp up those vaccinations.
Thursday night, President-elect Joe Biden addressed the country, starting off by mourning the hundreds of thousands of lives lost to COVID-19.
Countless families and friends left behind with unrelenting grief and guilt, anger and frustration. And the emptiness felt by the loss of life is compounded by the loss of our way of life.
Biden laying out his $1.9 trillion COVID rescue plan.
Tonight, I'll lay out my first step, the American Rescue Plan, that will tackle the pandemic and get direct financial assistance and relief to Americans who need it the most. Next month, in my first appearance before a joint session of Congress, I will lay out my Build Back Better recovery plan.
Biden's plan, among other things, would provide an extra $1,400 in direct payments to most Americans on top of the $600 checks many just received. Also, $130 billion to help schools reopen safely and $160 billion to create a national vaccine program and boost testing. Yet, help can't come soon enough. In Los Angeles County, one person is dying of COVID every 6 minutes. In San Jose, a funeral service says demand is triple what it normally would be.
The county health department is taking a little bit longer than usual with processing death certificates, so we can't even get the permits.
From California to New York, mass vaccination sites struggling to meet the demand. Phone lines jammed, websites crashing.
It has been really frustrating because there's nowhere to turn. There's no options, no matter how smart you are.
And that UK variant now confirmed in at least 13 states. Experts say it is not more deadly, but it is likely more contagious. Romina Puga, ABC News, Los Angeles.
The county reported another 2,500 new cases today, bringing our total to 204,000. Another 53 San Diegans have lost their lives to COVID, bringing that total to just over 2,000. New at 11 o'clock, chilling stories of the uprising at the Capitol, described as brutal, medieval-style combat, a nightmare. Capitol police officers are beginning to share their harrowing stories of trying to protect a sacred institution and the people inside, all while fighting for their lives during last week's attack.
I mean, we were getting, chemical irritants sprayed. They had pipes and, different metal objects, batons, some of which I think they had taken from law enforcement personnel. They were striking us with those.
You said the force was overwhelming and there wasn't much police could do with just a few dozen officers against thousands of protesters. But despite being outnumbered, they fought. Another officer who was crushed against a door by the mob says he was stunned at the emotion of the rioters, describing them as zealots.
There's a guy ripping my mask off, and he was able to rip away my baton and beat me with it, and he was practically foaming at the mouth. So just these people were true believers in the worst way.
Several officers say they didn't want to open fire, knowing it wouldn't be enough to stop the attack, and it would lead to even more violence.
Governor Gavin Newsom is mobilizing 1,000 members of the National Guard because of concerns over violent protests. A temporary chain-link fence also went up today around the state capitol in Sacramento. The FBI and others, they are warning about civil unrest before or during President-elect Joe Biden's inauguration next week. The CHP is refusing to issue any permits for rallies at the Capitol. And as critics of the Governor Newsom continue gathering signatures for that recall effort, we are getting our first snapshot of how he might fare in a matchup against former San Diego Mayor Kevin Faulconer. This month, of course, Faulconer formed an exploratory committee for a potential run. And in our scientific ABC 10 News Union Tribune poll, Faulconer does lead NEWSOM 38 to 36% among San Diegans, again, just here in San Diego. However, a whopping 26% are still undecided. 1.5 million valid signatures must be gathered by March 17th to get a recall on the ballot.
Right now, crews are getting control of a major brush fire burning northwest of Los Angeles. A neighborhood had to be evacuated off the 23 freeway in Thousand Oaks. The fire started a little before 5 o'clock. Santa Ana winds pushed the flames across the hillside, burning 250 acres. And fortunately, no injuries or damaged buildings were reported so far. And
back here at home, a brush fire that erupted right next to Palomar College during Santa Ana winds. That fire prompted evacuation warnings and a response from hundreds of fire personnel. Crews initially believed that the fire had grown to about 40 acres, but later adjusted that number to 30. And at last check, the fire had been stopped, but not quite fully contained. So some firefighters are there throughout the night to watch for any flare-ups. Our ABC 10 News reporter Mimi Alcala shows us how crews were able to quickly get a handle on the fire.
And there was a lot of firefighters, you know, they got a small army up there.
A large plume of black smoke could be seen from miles and miles away. It's January, but that doesn't mean fire season is over here in San Diego County. The heat, wind, dry fuels, and low humidity Thursday afternoon helped this vegetation fire in San Marcos near Palomar College quickly spread to approximately 30 acres.
Units arrived on scene reporting light, flashy fuels with a heavy rate of spread. There were structures threatened.
The fire was burning in a field right behind the San Marcos United Methodist Church on West Mission Road. Bill Rep, who works at the church, witnessed the flames spreading before fire crews arrived. Grateful they didn't get too close.
That's my little cross up there. I take care of that, and I think God must have been watching over that and the church. Luckily, the winds was blowing this way. Or if it was coming down this way, then it would have been more trouble.
The fire burned dangerously close to homes, prompting evacuation warnings that were lifted a couple of hours later, thanks to the swift action of multiple agencies helping the San Marcos Fire Department.
We've had units assist us from all over North County and East County, along with aircraft from San Diego County Sheriff and CAL FIRE San Diego.
No injuries were reported and no structures were damaged, but crews reminding everyone not to let their guards down and to remember to always be fire ready.
We always got to be prepared in California. Fire season year-round.
Mimi Alcala, ABC 10 News.
More than 11,000 residents in the East County could have their power shut off tomorrow because of high winds. Meteorologist Angelica Campos is joining us now with the warm, dry, and windy conditions expected in parts of the county. Angelica.
Hi, Kim, and believe it or not, we are not under a red flag warning, but to the north, much of the Inland Empire, Orange County, everybody included in the red flag warning until tomorrow afternoon. Now, the difference for our county is the fact that this is an isolated event to just different parts of the county. That is where we've seen some of the strongest winds right now, gusting up to 32 miles per hour in Alpine and only 18 in Julian. But as that wind out of the east, as it downslopes towards the coast, it dries out the air and it creates those dangerous fire conditions. The winds could potentially get stronger overnight, gusting up to 60 miles per hour in our mountains and foothills by tomorrow. And we'll continue watching for more Santa Ana winds also into next week.
Hopes and pray to the Lord God to guide us to her and find her.
A South Bay family desperate to find their loved one. Dozens held a prayer vigil for a Chula Vista mother of 3 that's been missing since last week. Our ABC 10 News reporter Anthony Pura spoke with her sister about how they hope the outpouring of support from that community can finally lead to some answers.
At Mount San Miguel Park in Chula Vista Thursday, an evening of prayer, candlelight, and hope that Maya Miliete's family will soon find her. The mother of 3 has been missing since last week.
We haven't heard from her since then. We don't know whereabouts.
Maya's sister says it's not like Maya to just leave without contacting anyone. She disappeared 6 days ago and didn't show up for work this week. She also missed her daughter's birthday.
She's unlike her to miss her daughter's 11th birthday.
Maya's husband told ABC 10 News that they got into an argument last Thursday and she left to, quote, blow off some steam. Her family filed a missing person report over the weekend. On Wednesday, family and friends organized a search effort for Maya. Her sister said she believes Maya left with just her ID, possibly her phone, and a credit card, which she says hasn't been used. She also left her car, and that's why Wednesday's search was centered around the Mount San Miguel Park, which families say is within walking distance. Her sister says they've received a strong outpouring of support from the community.
Strangers, that they just came up and we want to help. What can we do? It's been, awesome to see all the love and support from the neighbors, the community, all her friends, her co-workers.
They hope that someone will come forward with information that can bring Maya back safely.
We don't have any lead, so right now, we're just hoping she's somewhere.
Anthony Pura, ABC 10 News.
There is another search event planned for tomorrow morning at Mount San Miguel Park.